Hello, everybody, and Happy New Year. My name is Dylan, and we are coming to you live from Codename Entertainment in beautiful Victoria, BC, Canada. Before we begin, I would like to thank D&D for hosting us on the official D&D Twitch channel. It is and will always be an honor to be here. A shout out as well to Erica and Margaret, who are helping co-produce, moderate, live tweet, social, etc., all this stuff along with me. Without further ado, really, we have a very special guest for our first stream of the new year. And not just any guest, but somebody who has been at the forefront of the video game industry for probably decades now, hosting programs like Attack of the Show, Countdown to E3, X-Play, writing and reviewing games for thousands of episodes, probably, as well as among D&D fans, probably best known as Môrgæn, the High Elf Ranger of the long-running stage show Acquisitions Incorporated. So please, everybody, welcome Môrgæn Webb to the stream. I'm hoping that the audio is still working. Sounds like it. Oh, no, I can hear you. Okay, good. Thank God. Did you lose my audio? Aha! Can you hear me now? There we go. I forgot to hit a button. That's on me.
Okay.
I swear the introduction was good.
I'm sure it was amazing.
Yeah. Technical challenges aside, welcome.
Sorry, those are also my bad. I had a lot of audio issues on my end. You know what I do is I make incredibly fussy, complicated systems that don't work, and then I just use the speakerphone, and it totally works.
It happens. I mean, technology, right? Sometimes you turn the thing on and you haven't changed anything, and it just doesn't work that time. So it's just how it goes. So welcome to our live stream, celebrating the introduction of Môrgæn, your character, to Idle Champions.
I'm excited. Also, somebody go pick up all that gold. Okay, thank you.
Oh man, I'm curious actually because. I was trying to creep through the Acquisitions Incorporated wiki, trying to find out to see if anything like the exact number of episodes was tracked and stuff, because like the show is 13 or 14 years old since they first started podcasting.
Oh my God, that's terrifying. And yeah. I don't have anything else to say about that. That is a terrifying and true fact, my friend.
Well, it's just kind of staggering because like Chris Perkins retired from doing the live show the year before last or last year, a year and a bit ago, I think. Like the PAX Unplugged at the end of 2018 was his last one, I think it was, and then Jeremy took over as the DM. But I'm just kind of like curious, like how did you, like what is, I guess. Scrap that. Starting more from the beginning. When did you first start playing D&D? Like, where did your the Môrgæn's journey with Dungeons and Dragons begin?
So I played a little bit with friends at G4, but never really got super into it until I actually started playing with Acquisitions Incorporated, which, like I was familiar with the game, but it was definitely a little bit terrifying to get out there on stage and play, in front of all those people. And now at Bonfire, which is the game studio that I'm at currently, it used to be a once every week game. We're doing Ravenloft, and we're almost finished now, but it's been a little less often because now our DM is running multiple campaigns with multiple different groups, so we kind of switch off. One of our other groups is doing the Tomb of Annihilation.
Oh, nice. Yep.
Yeah. So we're doing Ravenloft. We're almost finished, and so then I play with my work friends, and then I also play with Acquisitions Incorporated, which is fun. And then I also like to listen to podcasts and stuff like that to kind of keep up and learn about new powers and different classes that I haven't played before.
Do you have a favorite podcast? I'm curious.
Yeah. I really like Not Another D&D Podcast. I don't know if you've heard that one, but I recommend it. It's very funny. It's like they're improv and comedians, so it's a fun, lighthearted podcast. But I really like the world building that they do.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, like it's a really creative, interesting thought out world and universe. And he's like an amazing DM. He's really able to roll with the punches because his crew is crazy pants.
I find that happens a lot. We have our office games, which I was just playing right up until I ran over here to get this stuff running. And we've been playing Curse of Strahd forever, it feels like. Yeah. A long time. Because like you go in and out of crunch periods where you don't have any time for it, or like somebody goes away on vacation or whatever, and we're just trying to slowly. Someday we might confront Strahd instead of just side questing through Barovia for years on end. But it's also so much fun.
There's like all these amazing side quests that you can do, and then there's so much flavor in the world that you can totally get caught up in something that's not really anything. Mm-hmm. Like there's one, or that your DM has not decided to spend that much time on. Like we spent a lot of time in this one dude's house who made these creepy dolls.
Oh yeah, Blinsky. Yeah.
What was his name?
Blinsky, something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember. We spent a lot of time in there, and like we have one of our people we play with is a halfling, and he is constantly stealing stuff. So it's just like, I think we spent 2 sessions in this store for no reason. Like we didn't, like nothing meant anything in the end. Like we just caused havoc and were mean, like stole stuff. That's it.
That's kind of one of my favorite things about just D&D though, is that just the shenanigans. It's just it's absolutely bonkers. Yeah. And like, do you guys play at lunch, or like, do you have like a game night, or like, how does that?
We have game nights, but usually it's on Thursdays, and we turn the lights down, and we have this like ridiculous speaker system that we put in for no reason. But so we like turn on the, because somebody was super into speakers, and so they put in a big speaker system. Mm-hmm. We put on spooky music that goes with the theme. Our DM actually is one of our game designers, but he does amazing props too, which is always so fun. Oh, so like super good props.
I'm gonna on behalf of my boss, who is also a prop master. Does he have like a Twitter or an Instagram account where he shares that kind of stuff?
He doesn't share that stuff, which is funny.
Interesting. Okay.
Maybe I'm gonna start forcing him to share it, because he'll like plop down this, map that's on leather and has holes in it where he wants it to be mysterious, and it's all like. Or then he'll have like put down someone's journal that you're like going through it for clues and little like snippets of story, and most of it's unreadable and it's all half burned.
Huh. Wow.
It's I think he uses it for more than just our campaign though. I think he runs Ravenloft with a bunch of different groups, so he does share it.
Fair enough. Yeah. Our CEO Eric spends a surprising amount of time, as we now know, making props for the like 3 or 4 D&D campaigns he runs, because I think like each one of his kids and his wife all have separate campaigns that are all in the same world, and they all overlap and are intertwined, and it sounds really complicated when he describes it, but it comes with pictures of maps he's made, of documents, of like wands he's made, and just like artifacts and just tons of stuff. So yeah, he shares that all on his social media these days.
That would be a cool panel at PAX, would be props, like how to make props for...
just like tabletop role-playing.
Yeah, like props for tabletop role-playing and bring examples and stuff. I think that'd be super fun. I would go to that panel.
It would be a good panel. There's a lot of very talented prop makers, cosplayers, people who are just enthusiastic about D&D, who make tons of stuff from scratch. And I guess that's your current party with D&D. I guess the office party. What I guess, because AI.
Saltmarsh, I guess.
What's that?
I guess I'm also doing Saltmarsh.
Oh wow! Okay, another one too. I was gonna say, because like AI started as a podcast, and eventually became a stage show. Like, what is that stage show like as somebody who's on the stage? Because I've been in the audience at it, and it's, I mean, Acquisitions Incorporated had been around for a while before I got to sit in an audience for one, and I just like there, and then somebody says "Green Flame" on stage, and then 1,000 people shouted instantly. I'm like, what the hell? Like what's that like for you guys?
So I've only ever done with them the stage show. I actually would like to do some other stuff. It'd be fun to do one of the podcasts, like I don't know, or even like an NPC would be super fun. But so you are backstage and you're nervous and you're scared and you're practicing. And I do it, like, we sort of do it less now, but in the beginning, because I play my Môrgæn character with one of my other with the Ravenloft. So I do play her, except it's like now they've bifurcated. There's like different versions of her. They're at different levels. Mm-hmm. I didn't do summoning animals in my Ravenloft character. So part of it is you're sitting there with your sheet being like, okay, what? Let me just get it really in my head, really think about it. And then since I can summon beasts, I sit there and I am searching my cards for like my beast cards. Mm-hmm. I used to make them. Now that I was like, I thought somebody just makes them. So then I purchased some for like $5 on Amazon. And I was like, I don't know, I didn't do this years ago. And I go through and I'm trying to pick some animals that are funny. And so I'm ready when I'm like, I'm summoning for, quarter challenge rating panthers or whatever. Mm-hmm. So that I can also help out the DM a little bit and not just be like, oh, I don't understand why you don't know the challenge rating of this animal. And the bite attack and the claw attack. So I pick some so that I just have like 3 or 4 in my head that I might choose. And then I eat pizza and I try not to drink too much water because it's a super long show.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. And it's and people who have to get up and use the bathroom on stage always look so embarrassed. They're like, I'm sorry, and then just run off stage.
I waited as long as I can, but I cannot concentrate. Yeah. So make sure I'm dehydrated, and then which is why we're all sipping the water on stage because we're like, oh, blessed water.
Yeah. That reminds me. I was watching. Mike was DMing you guys doing a battle royale game.
Oh my God!
Which our whole office pretty much watched when it was live. Like we're all sitting here working, and everybody's got headphones on and stuff, but like everybody's chuckling at about the same time. So we're pretty sure they're all watching it.
That was an amazing. I just wish he had told us to bring money on the stage.
So that was the question I was going to have. Was like, did you know that he was going to sell loot boxes, or did you just happen to have money and just do that? Okay.
The only person who had money was Patrick Rothfuss. He had money because he brought his wallet on stage. Like, my wallet's in my purse. I'm not going to bring my purse on stage. Mm-hmm. So he kept handing us money like under the table.
Oh, okay. I was curious about that because I just remember watching it and be like, I thought it was one of the most brilliant things I'd ever seen on stage. Suddenly there's loot boxes. It just, I don't know. I lost it laughing. It was good.
It was so well thought out and funny and great. I know. I just wish I had had money. There probably would have been a point when I would be like, fine, how many, 20, 40, no, 60, because we've all been there. So then after you are scared, then you go on stage and you are afraid that you're going to forget how to do math.
Yeah.
Even though you're not, you just have that worry that someone's going to ask you, like, what's 8 + 7? And you're like, the audience is always yelling stuff at you from the audience. They're yelling ideas at you, and you should do this, do that. But usually you hear like, mage hand or something. And you're like, what was that? But yeah, it has. Then after you're on, the shows go really fast. It's electric. I love the people that I play with. They're a lot of fun. We're all just trying to have a good time. The DM's up for some shenanigans. Mm-hmm.
Huh, that's cool. Yeah, it's a very unique. Like, I still have a hard time wrapping my head around the fact that D&D can be either a live show or a stream, and people will watch it. And obviously, it's huge now because hundreds of thousands, if not maybe even millions of people watch the content across platforms, and it's it still seems weird to me that happens.
Well, it's such a great way for people to learn too. Like I still learn stuff from listening to D&D podcasts and watching D&D. Like I don't know what like a spore druid is, some like unearthed arcana, but then it's like I get to hear somebody play it and I get to hear the cool spells and powers, and I'm like, well, maybe I'm gonna play that. I feel like I could do that. So I started my first paladin, and maybe you can give me some advice on how to play a paladin, because it doesn't fit my normal human emotions. Like I'm struggling with it.
I mean, they're overpowered in 5e. They just like they can heal. They've got armor. They can blow stuff up. I mean, like, what do you feel like doing, really?
Well, so I'm low level, so I have like touch hands, but my pool is like 10 or
Oh, yeah,
something.
okay.
So it doesn't feel that powerful, but I think I'm used to playing higher level characters, and it'll get higher. I think it's just like my personality. I can't quite. I'm not really that kind of person that would be a paladin, like obsessed with the right and justice and black and white thinking. So I don't know. I got to figure out how to do it. Have you played a paladin?
I have. And the one I played was a hyper privileged noble jerk who was full of himself and very narcissistic.
Yeah.
Which is a stretch for me. I mean, I can be a jerk, sure, but anybody can do that if they want. But it was just kind of, I was trying to play a character who's selfish when I'm not selfish, not usually, which I thought was really challenging. But I also thought that was kind of the joy of it, was like I'm trying to play a character that I wouldn't be, and just trying to embrace it, because I mean, every video game I play, I end up, by the end of it, I played the most lawful to neutral good person that you can be through all of it, just out of reflex.
Yeah.
And so trying to force myself to play anything else.
Yeah. I'm almost always like chaotic good, or Môrgæn I think was chaotic good, and she slipped into chaotic neutral.
Yeah. It's because you love blood. What was it? Blood something. Blood.
Oh, blood. What was it? It was the blood circus.
Blood circus. Yeah. Rakdos blood circus. That's what it was.
Oh my god, that was great. I was we're gonna have to see what happens after that, because it did have a surprise twist ending, which I won't tell people if they haven't seen.
Yeah.
Watch it soon, because we are having another show. Gosh, not this weekend, but next weekend.
Yeah. That's PAX South. Yep.
Yeah.
San Antonio.
Yeah.
Line up early. I notice, because those lines are astounding. Actually, again, still just kind of weirded out by how.
Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, sorry. I was just gonna say, like, still, like, to see people line up that long to watch a D&D performance is amazing. It's pretty unreal.
But I would say don't get discouraged if you do want to see it, because that theater is big, which is unbelievably terrifying when you are sitting there and you're like, there's a lot of people there, and there's a lot of people up there. But they put on a really good show too, and you can also watch it streaming, so you don't have to line up at all. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would think that, because I'm probably a lot more limited stage experience than you have, but like I found that, like, if I was in a smaller room where I can actually make eye contact with like up to like 50 people, I find that more stressful than if I'm on a stage and the lights are on me and there's just a sea of, I know humans are there, but I can't really see them. It just doesn't bother me as much, because I'm like, I can't see that guy's expression, so I don't worry about his expression, and it just kind of, but it's noisy. It's just like,
It also just gets so overwhelming. The thought of it is so overwhelming that you can't think about it. It almost short circuits it. It's not like, you're not trying to, as you said, like read the faces of the people in the room. It's because no matter how many people are in the theater, there's more people watching on Twitch or on live.
Yep.
So you just got to like, just focus on the people in front of you and know that they're amazing and not going to let you fail.
Mm-hmm. And they're right there with you. So we have a few questions related to Môrgæn.
Okay.
One of them is pretty close to something I was gonna ask anyways. Somebody asking, what is an aspect of Môrgæn that inspires you? And counter to that, what is an aspect of yourself that you think would inspire Môrgæn?
I mean, I also named her after myself, so she probably is sort of like me. I like that she is sort of pragmatic and no nonsense and not mushy with the emotions. I think that's not necessarily something I aspire to. I'm probably aspiring to be a little bit more mushy and nice, but I think that's that sort of like that tie between Môrgæn and I, sort of lack of emotion, practicality, not necessarily the end justifies the means, but just practical. She's a practical elf.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, and it's funny, like she's a high elf, but she rejected all of the, you know, fancy trappings and basically went off by herself and didn't want to have all this sort of fancy, you know, frivolous conversations. She just wants to do what's right in the moment, take care of business, get things done, you know. So she's very much like doesn't belong with her people. And I think that that's a big element of who she is as well.
Mm.
I don't know how that relates to me as much. I'm not a high elf.
It kind of segues to the, like, I always ask people, you know, how much of their character is actually just parts of themselves that they're playing, versus how much of it is a performance. Like, how much of Môrgæn is Môrgæn?
I mean, kind of a lot, although I'm not that great at archery. Because like the paid in advance thing with her is not about being selfish. It's about that, like, all the other people in the party are kind of unpredictable. I don't trust Owen to pay afterwards because he'll forget. So it's not as much of a greed or selfish thing. It's just like you will pay me in advance because I don't trust you to pay me afterwards, and it's just a practical solution, and it's fine. I don't care, whatever. I think I find her easy to play because I do like that sort of practical nature. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I just love it. She's so fun to play. You don't have to use flowery words. You don't have to try to convince people of things. You're just like, I'm just going to be quiet here with my bow drawn and let all the other fancy people do all the talking.
Yeah.
Because my charm is like 0, so I failed all those rolls anyway.
What else do we have here for questions? Somebody's asking if you're a fan of Star Wars and Kingdom Hearts. That's kind of random.
I like Star Wars. Probably, if I had to choose, I would probably be more of a Star Trek person than a Star Wars person, but I like them a lot. I'm going to be a little bit, we'll see how people react to this like bold statement. I feel like Star Wars is getting a little oversaturated.
No, I agree. And that has been a very vocal animated discussion in the office the last month and a half or so.
Okay, it's not just me. I feel like it's like I like it, right? Like I like it, but it's like now I open my United app and it's Star Wars ads. I get my napkin on the airplane and it's Star Wars ads. Like there just comes a point, right, where like it used to be a little more precious and special, and now it feels like it's on every single advertisement. And putting that brand on an ad takes away from it as a story and a franchise and a world. It makes it kind of feel like an ad a little bit. So I don't know. What do you think? You're
so I don't watch a lot of actual television, but I got to watch a little bit over the break because I went back to my parents' place for Christmas and stuff, and so I actually turn on the TV because they don't even, like, they're like in this weird part of Vancouver Island where like the cell tower coverage is on either side of their property, but like it's kind of like they're in a dead spot. So I'm like watching just television, which is weird. And there was this ad, and it's like somebody dressed just like Rey, like running through the desert. They've got their lightsaber, they got all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, like where is this going? That's clearly not Daisy Ridley. So like, what is this? And then eventually it just transitions, and it's like a phone commercial. It has nothing to do with Star Wars in any way, except that after the phone commercial part ends, it just says Rise of the Skywalker in theaters now. And I was just kind of sitting there like, I'm never going to not have fond memories of the original trilogy because I grew up watching them. I watched them every Christmas on TV when they would air, and like, and I had like these really strong memories for it. And like, I wasn't happy, or unhappy with more Star Wars, but a film a year is a lot of Star Wars. So, I really, really enjoyed Rogue One, and then I was kind of like, okay, cool. And then, I wasn't blown away by the new trilogy. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I was just kind of like, all right. Because everybody has something else that they want, and nostalgia means different things to different people, and like, there's no way to make everybody happy with it. But, boy, like quantity is, I don't know necessarily the way to go.
It's one strategy.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about it that way. Like, if you want to make everybody happy, you just have to make a movie for everybody.
Yeah, but not one movie for everybody. No. I can't think of any example where design by committee has churned out the best possible thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'll probably still go see them every time, and I'll either gripe about it afterwards or not, right? Like, yeah. But that being said, I watched a heck of a lot more Star Trek growing up. Do you have a favorite captain before I forget to ask?
Yeah, I grew up on Next Generation, so that's, while I love Janeway and Captain Archer, like I had good experiences with those shows. That was like it was a really big part, like my family would watch it when it came out, like all together, It was a big thing, so I have fond memories of it. I remember I was watching it at one point, and I was sick, and I was like on the couch, just like feeling sorry for myself, watching old episodes of Star Trek. And my husband looks over and he's like, are you watching a soap opera? And he looks at it and he's like, oh, it's Star Trek. And like, it was such a soap opera plot line. He was just hearing it from the kitchen that it definitely made me rethink the way I think about Star Trek a little bit. Because I'm like, you have a point. There is an evil twin in this episode. Yeah.
Well, it's also it's hard to get away from those sci-fi tropes. There's just everything's been done to death. The new ideas coming in don't seem to be as frequent as they used to be. So it's weird to think that the original Star Trek series covered most of those ideas, and then all the subsequent ones just kind of redo them in different ways. But
yeah, we gotta find new places to steal ideas from.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. They could start. I don't know. I can't think of anything good for them to steal from, because like part of me likes the pure aspect of it. Like I like, whenever Next Generation becomes available on a streaming service, I find myself watching a lot of it again because I like that cast, and that, I like watching Patrick Stewart, just, be an ethical person, I guess. Yeah, stoked for his new show.
I'm excited. I like the feel of it because it's this future utopia, but it's not all utopian. Mm-hmm. But it feels like you can have a future that is not all terrible. Like the future has hope, like technology. Like this is the way, if it works out, this is how it looks.
Yeah.
As opposed to us just bombing ourselves into oblivion.
It's nice to have a little bit of escapism to a more idealized, scientifically literate, logic-based, future where people are all in it together. It's nice. That has nothing to do with D&D. Sorry,
focusing.
No, rolling it back. Somebody asked whether or not there was a chance that Môrgæn would ever be in any of the C-Team episodes or adventures.
There's no reason why not, I don't think. Sure.
And then somebody named Cassius335 wants to know if you prefer sword or shield. I assume that's a Pokemon question. but I could be wrong.
I don't play Pokemon. Pokemon came out after. Pokemon was just never my thing. Like, I was too old when Pokemon came out.
No, I understand. Yeah, same here.
Never, like, I don't have all those sort of warm, fuzzy childhood memories. And I'm not talking too old by, like, a lot. But, especially at that age, when you're like, that's for babies, and you're like 1 year older. I'm playing Yu-Gi-Oh! That's for big kids or whatever.
Yeah.
So I kind of missed it. I know. Are they mad at me?
Oh, I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, we're on the D&D Twitch, right? Like.
It was never my thing, and I did one Pokemon review in my entire game reviewing career.
Really?
And, yes. It was Pokemon Channel. It wasn't a game. It just wasn't a game. You watched TV, and then there would be like Pokemon on the TV.
What? Really? That's weird.
It was like, yeah, look it up, Pokemon Channel. I didn't give it a good score. I gave it a 1, I think.
Oh, wow.
The Pokemon would like give the weather, and then you would change the channel, and then, yeah. Then there was a game where you had to wait for Pokemon to hatch, and then sometimes it would be like 24 hours.
All right. Well, I mean, yeah, Pokemon was a little after my time, so I didn't get it. Not that I don't know what a Pikachu is, but that's about it.
Yeah, so it's like we're on opposite sides of the Pokemon world.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I miss it on one side, you miss it on the other.
Let's see. Thank you, Môrgæn, for this new character. Oh, yeah. And what else was?
No problem. I did 0 of the work.
Well, I mean,
you're welcome.
You took the time to embody and characterize Môrgæn over how many episodes?
That's true. I don't know, actually. I probably don't want to count.
Do you have a favorite D&D module, or one that you would suggest for people who are just getting into D&D?
I would say that they're all very different. So I would probably go, well, first of all, the Acquisitions Incorporated one is amazing. It actually is really good. But I would say go to the store and look at the covers. But I'm serious. Like, are you going to look at Strahd and be like, sweet vampires? Or are you going to look at, Waterdeep and be like, cool gadgets and the city? And, I say go to the store and look at the covers. Do you have a favorite one?
I mean, the slightly emo edgelord teenager in me will always have a deep fondness for Curse of Strahd and just like gothic horror and everything in general.
Yeah.
Tomb of Annihilation was a lot of fun.
I'm jealous that other crews playing that, and it just seems so fun, and there's like dinosaurs and.
Yep. Yeah. There's dinosaurs. There's zombie dinosaurs that puke zombies. There's teleporting feathered zombie dinosaur gods. Like there's bananas stuff in it.
There's not to love about that. I know.
Yeah. Well, actually, no. I don't think the teleporting one is dead. I think it's just like a T-Rex god or something. But it was a lot of fun. I liked it a lot. But I think if I had to pick one that is the most me, it's probably Descent into Avernus, because it's just a heavy metal craziness starting in a horrible city and going down into hell. Driving cars fueled by souls, and it's just, I don't know, it's just so extreme. It's like I was describing it to somebody as a Judas Priest album cover, and as somebody who's listened to a lot of metal, I was like, yeah, that works for me. I'll do that. I'm gonna be DMing.
I'm interested in the Rick and Morty one. I haven't read it yet.
Oh, I haven't looked at it either. I assume it's very chaotic. But maybe not.
It probably is. I'm so curious about it. We have it here, and one of the people that we play with, he wants to do his first DM, so he's like, I'm doing Rick and Morty. We're like, okay, let's do it.
Perfect. Yeah, that sounds like a good one. Because it looks like it takes the rules a little less seriously than some of the other ones do, so that's perfect.
Yeah, so we'll see. So I can come back and update everybody with how Rick and Morty D&D has gone.
I'm curious actually, because I think the thing about it that I find the most interesting is like when it comes to people telling you what it was like when they played a game with somebody else. Like, oh, I played Halo the other night with my friend and it was like this. It's like cool. Oh, I played whatever board game. But like when people tell you their stories of having played D&D with their friends, it's always way more interesting because they don't tell it like, oh, somebody rolled or whatever and I did this. They just say like, yeah, they as themselves personifying their characters, remember it and talk about it as if it was the experience they had the other night. Like, we did this. And everybody's always so excited. I never get tired of hearing about it.
I mean, that was something we always looked for in games. There were rare games where you said about it like if you were playing Uncharted, you wouldn't really say, I did this, or if you're playing like Resistance, you wouldn't be like, I did this. You would say like, oh, I think his name was like Nathan Hale or whatever, and then Nathan Drake or whatever. You would say like, oh, Drake did this, Drake did that. But there's like just these few games that use like, I did this, I did that, and you have these play stories. I think those games are like Mass Effect. I was like Fable 2. I'm trying to think of other games where you would say like what I did last night. And then D&D has that magic of I took over the pirate ship, I killed the captain, I did this. And that's what's so special about it.
Yep. And I mean, I'll just leave it at that actually because it's kind of perfectly encapsulates it. It's shared storytelling with people, and chances are you're playing with people you like. So
we hope, and that's why I'm curious in D&D, like what was your experience when you were playing the selfish character? Like how do you be like a party first player and have good experiences with your friends if you have your own motivation that kind of goes against what party is good for party?
You sometimes do things that aren't good for party.
It's so hard. I'm like, it's impossible for me to do.
I felt like a jerk at lunch today because one of our players has like this staff that can turn into a python that he loves, that his character loves. And it was like wrapped around an enemy to kill them, but like we're fighting all these things and my character's off on the other side of the battlefield casting spells, and I'm like, I don't think I could see the python from here, so I'm going to do this. And I did a lot of damage to it, and it just took another hit and then turned back into a staff and exploded, right? Like we destroyed his magical item. And that was not me playing optimally. Like that was just like, I don't think from here I could see that. Sorry. So yeah, that was the slightly more selfish play, I think.
You see my face? I'm like shocked and appalled.
Yeah, and like in my other, like I just finished the Tomb of Annihilation campaign over the Christmas break with my friends and my wife, and like that character is pretty selfless and like would stand in front of a bullet or a blast or whatever for somebody else, and is the healer of the party, and and then the one in the office, and she's a very selfish Yuan-Ti who is in it for herself, and and if the opportunity came for her to, like, if Strahd was like, I'll just let you go, you can leave Barovia, she'd just do it. She would leave them there. Like, she'd be like, all right, see ya. So I'm glad that hasn't happened. And yeah, just kind of approaching it a situation at a time. But yeah, it's different. It's weird. And you feel guilty. Like, I feel a little guilty about getting our druid's staff destroyed. But
I mean, yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah. I know. I think it's like what I'm working through with the paladin is like, I just don't know how to make her follow her motivations, but still make her playable for me. Like, I would play Mass Effect and I'm like, I'm gonna go evil, and then 5 minutes into it I'm like, oh, fine, I'll go Paragon. Like, I can't even bring myself to make one evil decision.
Yeah.
What is that? Why?
Well,
I'm not like the perfect angel in real life. I'm not trying to be like, I'm so good that I'm like, Halo.
Well, there's the fun thing about a paladin. So the thing I like about paladin or like a fighter or a barbarian is that they're like, I don't want to call them basic classes because that feels like it's simplifying it too much, but like, because they have so much more limited skill sets in terms of what they do. They focus on just a couple of things, that everything about your character is the character that you make for it. Like if your paladin doesn't have an oath yet, there's quite a few different oaths. You know, you might decide that your oath
Level
is
3, right?
yeah. You pick it at 3, and like you might decide that not only is my way the best way, but my way is the best way for everybody, and go oath of the conquest and be like, no, my way by force. Like do things the way that I want you to do it.
I don't think I'm gonna be able to pull that off because it's almost like, hey man, you do you.
Yeah. Well, like you could play Oath of the Ancients like just a super chill hippie. This like tied to nature, like everything's natural, everything's good kind of stuff. Strength of nature, plus it's a little neutralish. There's options.
Yeah, that's interesting because that's maybe more of my character of like, hey, everything is just it's like none of this matters. It's all fine.
Yeah,
Have a good time. You do you. If that's important to you, man, then we'll take care of that. That's cool.
Yeah. I recommend one like Ancients. That would be awesome. Plus, phenomenally good because all of the Paladin subclasses are really strong. 5e really made them good. Well, good as in fun to play, and they're powerful, not as in like lawful good, like they used to always have to be.
Yeah.
A little bit more open to alignments.
Yeah.
If you play with alignments heavily, which I don't know.
We don't really. I mean, we talk about it as a way to kind of talk about and learn about our characters. But my friend was like, my DM just reassigned my alignment, and I was like, can they do that?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, you were behaving, so now you're such and such, or you were behaving to your alignment, and so now you're changing your alignment. And he's like,
Yeah. We had there's a few things in the Tomb of Annihilation that can not just change your alignment, but dramatically change who your character is, depending on what happens, which is a lot of fun. Our rogue lost the ability to make decisions for themselves, and so had to be told to do things, and kept getting choice paralysis, and it was really, really funny.
oh my God, how long did that last?
Through much of the adventure. Most of the time we were playing that campaign, a huge amount of it was just playing through the tomb. The tomb's big.
Okay.
It's like one big zombie continent with dinosaurs and bird people and dinosaur people, and then a really, really, really big dungeon. Yeah.
Have you ever played any of the homebrew content that you can buy?
Oh, like on DM's Guild?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, quite a few people who have actually made modules for other editions of D&D or have contributed directly to the books also put stuff on there. So, everybody from, Matt Mercer to Rudy Rutenberg to I'm drawing a blank. I know him. He made Eberron, Keith Baker. And so a lot of them just they put stuff on there all the time, and a lot of the writers for D&D Beyond, James Hake, contribute to stuff. So I tend to gravitate towards their stuff because they have created content at a very high level and worked with wizards in the past and stuff. And so there's some very cool things, and there's some really cool books for just character options, as long as your DM is okay with it. There's just tons of stuff. Yeah, the Xanathar's Lost Notes, I think, is one of them. Was really, really good. I really enjoyed that. And there's a bunch of really, really good things for DMs about monsters. God, what's it? I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's Unchained, I think, was it? I'm gonna just Guild. I think Unchained was the name of it, and it was written by someone who was coming up with non-tropey stories for different types of monsters, and just a lot of really, really interesting background stuff that I highly, highly, highly recommend. Because
that's awesome. So then the DM can just put those monsters in the world that they're creating. Is that the idea?
Well, a lot of the time they're monsters that are already in 5e in the book, but one of the ones that they put a huge amount of effort into was telling a good story around a Gorgon, a Medusa type character, and having a trope free adventure for them, something unconventional, different from how a lot of people approach it. And so it was I feel bad that I can't remember the name because I feel like it's worth being plugged, but they did a phenomenal job.
You'll have to tweet it at me.
I will tweet it at you after. Yeah, I'm trying to find it. But yeah, there's some really cool stuff on there.
Also, like people, I think people think DMing is. I mean, I'm terrified of DMing. I'm sure I'll start doing it at some point, but just because we have a lot of people here, we need more DMs. Like we can't have one person do everything. But it's like all that world building. Like you want to create something really special and magical and different than people have done before. But it's also like a ton of work to write stories for everything.
Yep. Uncaged. That's what it's called.
Uncaged. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. There's 3 volumes of it, and they're a little pricier for DM's Guild type stuff, but worth it. And I know they do physical printings of it sometime because at D&D Live this past year they had like the hard covers of it. And if I hadn't already spent all my money at the Death Saves booth, I probably would have bought it. So, yeah.
There is often shopping when you go to the PAXs and stuff.
Yep. Yeah, because we will be at PAX South next week. I won't be, but Idle Champions and our artist Alexis always knows where all the dice are because she buys all the dice. Like she's got tons.
I am gonna buy one set this year. That's it.
Is it going to be one of those? Because Level Up Dice does these like stone dice with like metal etched into them and all this. Like it's just crazy. Luxury dice wasn't a thing growing up, and now it's everywhere, and
they're so good though.
It's awesome.
So I bought last year I bought hematite from them.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I like them. But I don't know if they're like my dice. I still remember, I still have these like Chessex. I think they're like green. I know in fact that they are sort of like the Chessex, like green and gold and like purple ones like mixed together. And they're just like the Chessex dice you buy in a little thing. But I love them so much. Mm-hmm. And so I'm trying to find that equivalent in the fancy dice.
I hear you. Yeah. I made the mistake at PAX West of telling them outright that if they combined 2 of the dice they had on sale, if you do this die with that like type of lettering, I'll buy it. And then sure enough, it's in their store now, and I'm like, shit. So at the next PAX I attend, I'll pick them up.
Yeah. They're not that bad. There was only one $500 pair of dice that I looked at once with like any sort of serious eyes, and then I was like, Morgan, you're being ridiculous. So you need to walk away from this table right now.
That's more than I would pay for asset of dice, but I don't know. I mean, I've spent lots on dice at this point, so who knows? You
get caught up in the moment. You're like, they're so pretty, and then your friends are like, they're amazing, and then you're like, how much are they? And they're like $500, and you're like, oh. Cool. I should not drop these.
Yeah. Well, and then there's the part where like if you go to your friend's house on their table and then you roll your stone dice and they leave little dents and nicks in the table because they're stone because you're rolling rocks on their table basically. So
like here we have metal. All of our tables and our gaming table, like our conference room tables, they're all metal, and so you just can't. And so whenever people here has these beautiful copper dice, but like you can't roll them on the table because it's just like slamming like.
Yeah.
So we have the trays.
Yeah. Well, the trays are pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Anyways, I want to be respectful of your time because you carved out part of your day for us, and we're almost approaching 2:00. So.
Well, that went very fast. Again, I apologize for all of the audio issues that I will try to figure out after this.
It's all good. It happens. It's just technology and streaming and. I have a setup with a lot of stuff here. I'm going to take a picture of it right now so that I can tweet how ridiculous it looks. There we go. It's just Windows and like this thing's telling me how much data we've uploaded, and this one's telling me how much CPU usage is there, and this is all the scene stuff, and it's just like I don't know. Any one of those things could just stop working, and has on stream at least once. So.
I'm sure, and for no reason.
Yep.
I'm still amazed by how often restarting fixes things.
It's great. Yeah. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us today and for allowing us to introduce Môrgæn to the game.
Yeah. I know we didn't talk about her. Hey, Môrgæn. Hey.
She's pretty no nonsense. I mean, it seems good. Yeah.
Yeah, with me. Yeah.
What more is there to say?
Nothing.
Anyways, thank you so much, and have a fantastic day and an awesome PAX.
Thank you. You too. Oh, wait,
All
you're
right.
not going.
I'm not. No, I can't go to PAX South or East this year. Actually, I was going to talk about this later, but my wife is due to have our first kid on February 1st, which means any time over the next 4 weeks could be I disappear for however long that takes. I hear it's 20 years. Yeah, so.
20 years.
No travel for me in January or February. I've been told. So. Yeah.
It's reasonable.
It makes sense. Yeah. Anyways,
Okay, bye.
Yeah. Cheers. Thanks for joining us. Alrighty, and then I'm gonna hit the button to go back to this. So that's my news. Not going to be at the next 2 PAXs, but may be able to make it to D&D Live if we go. We don't actually know the date yet, and I should at least be at West in August. But yeah. Anywho, I have a pretty cool co-host. Oh, you're joining me in that chair. All right, that's going to be really low. It's all good. It's not a complaint. It's just the awesome Margaret pulling in. So if you're wondering why Margaret has existed here and is working on the stream and doing Q&As and stuff, it's because I will be MIA for an indeterminate amount of time as I learn how to not abandon my child and all that fun stuff related to that. So.
Yeah, I'm just trying to mind flay Dylan's brain before he leaves, so that that works.
You guys are in good hands. She's a polyglot. She's educated. She is learning all my tricks. When I come back, you'll be like, "Where's Margaret?" So
they'll be like, "Oh, thank goodness."
Yeah. Hope you roll high diaper skills. I'm actually not really worried about that part. Not that I haven't changed any diapers yet. All my friends, many of my friends have kids, and my sister has 2 kids, and they've all been like, "Do you want to change our diapers?" I'm like, "No, that's coming for me. I can wait." Like, I don't want to do it more than I have to, but we'll see how everything goes for Catherine. What the delivery process is, but I fully expect to be changing at least half of them, probably more. So, yeah. Who's Dylan? Yeah, exactly. See, we're already there, Mage Pie. Anyways, welcome to hour 2 of the first stream of the year, 2020. I'm still getting used to writing 2020 on stuff.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
And it's like, it changes on the second digit, the 3rd digit, so I'm like, oh, I can't even.
Yeah. I'm more like, I keep getting tripped up by my auto fill out forms on on stuff, like, making codes and all that stuff. And before we get too far into it, we do have a thing to give away.
Oh, yeah.
The premium edition Waterdeep Dungeon of the Mad Mage board game by WizKids. We're going to give this away. And all you have to do is sign up for the Gleam. You got it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And as I understand it, because I was double checking, we do have the premium edition sticker on here, which means it's the one that MSRPs for twice as much because the minis in it are actually painted already.
Oh, that's cool.
Pre-painted. So that is open for the next week. And at least it should be open for the next week. Clive! No, it's open. We will be announcing the winner during next week's stream where Margaret will be off to PAX South. And I will be opening some of the stuff out of this here brick of minis because WizKids loves us and we love WizKids. And giving away some more stuff next stream as well. Waterdeep Dungeon of the Mad Mage board game. Yeah, we should have asked for 2 copies so we had one for the office, but
yeah, that would have been cool.
That would have been the smarter way to play.
It is heavy.
It's kind of heavy, yeah. I don't know what the shipping costs will be.
Many.
So, I mean, not to bias towards people who live in North America, but I'm crossing my fingers as in North America because, one, we know it'll get to you, and two, the shipping won't be nuts. But we have shipped things to Brazil, Poland, some other parts of Southeast Asia, I think. So we will do what we can. No restriction. You just gotta, I think, have a Twitter account or something for it. I know that's a little social media bias, but like, come on, we want more likes and shares, right? Like,
I mean, you can be like me and have a Twitter account and not really post anything ever.
I noticed that actually because you have the at Margaret MCN, and then it's like
there's nothing.
Yeah,
there's a picture of Lulu now.
Yeah, if you guys could follow Margaret MCN on Twitter, that would be great because she needs followers. Because like you need to have more followers than you have following. And the Idle Champions account is following Margaret MCN. So if you could as well, I'm kidding. But if you want to, it's inactive, so it won't fill up your feed, your feed with spam.
I used to tweet a bunch, but then I had a creepy ex problem, and then I just deleted
I'm sorry.
Most of my social media, and then started it again.
That's fair. The only reason I have anybody on mine is because I used to organize events that were popular.
But that does not shock me that you would organize popular events.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's yeah. But I'm not that popular. I mean, we're just talking to Môrgæn, who has $250,000 at least more than me, a little more popular. And for those of you who don't know, there used to be this television channel called Tech TV. And that eventually merged with G4 and became G4 Tech TV. And then there was a show called X-Play on it that Môrgæn co-hosted with Adam Sessler, and that was like video game journalism on television. That was the beginning. That's probably it actually. I don't know how much more there ever was, but that was like the early aughts, like 2003, 2004, something like that. I used to watch it all the time. Anyways, picking up the talking in the TARDIS on the stream. Erica, tell them to shut up. No, I'm gonna you know what I'm gonna do is we're gonna pull these mics in way closer to our faces, and we're just gonna adjust the sensitivity, and it won't take the room next door quite as much.
I will learn to be loud.
Isn't that the channel that used to show cops reruns 24/7? I'm not sure. So in Canada, it would. Some of the content would get broadcast on like TSN during odd hours because they just can't always fill it. So that they'd show everything from like paintball to Attack the Show or X-Play. So yeah, I mean the whole of cable television is kind of a weird nebulous mess these days that doesn't seem to be adapting to streaming very quickly. So we'll see what happens in the next few years. I mean, how long is it going to be before you get ads on Netflix, right? Hopefully never, but I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Anywho, I have neglected questions, so I'm going to look at them. Are you planning your child's first campaign? I am waiting to see what kind of child we have. I'm just crossing my fingers right now for normal everything and
alignment reveal party. No gender reveal party, but alignment reveal party.
Alignment reveal party. I mean, I'll let them reveal their alignment through their actions over the course of a lifetime. But no, I just I want Catherine to be healthy at the end of it. I want the child to be healthy at the end of it, and like cross the other bridges when we get to them. But yeah, I am already looking forward to playing like D&D with my kid because that's awesome. Alrighty, opinion. This is Giant Dwarf. We need to expand gold tags. Like, why don't Archon and Azaka have them? Arguable that Jim should have one. Anyone that has a lucky feat and effectively point/companions of the hall. That's an interesting discussion. That is an ongoing discussion here. Right now, there's kind of our tags are determined by design. So, they are intended to have the gold tags where we have them right now. but it doesn't mean that it'll never change and that our philosophy around why they are the way they are doesn't change. Certainly, it would help with Môrgæn in that, she gets better with more gold fine champions in the formation, and that's kind of limited right now based on her slot and all that stuff. So, ongoing discussion. Where do you lead us, Margaret?
Hopefully in Dylan's footsteps, but maybe also with a side of fantasy book club on the side.
Yeah. She reads a lot. More than I do.
I like books.
Yeah, which is a good thing. That's one of the things. That's the thing I like the most about when I travel. I read books a lot when I travel or when I'm out of town. But when I'm in town, I'm too distracted by the bazillion things I have to do.
Yeah, I've selected my plain book for PAX South.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get a whole book done. Actually, no. You guys have layovers, so
Yeah.
you'll get a book done. Although you haven't traveled with Eric yet. Eric is chatty. Dexter's chatty too.
We'll see.
Alexis sometimes.
Alexis and I are going running we're going to try to squeeze in our training runs during PAX South. So.
Yeah. It'll be a little warmer.
Yeah, it'll be nice.
Yeah.
It'll be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It won't be horrible. With Dylan on leave, does that mean we'll get all the 2020 hidden chest codes from Margaret by March?
No.
So I can confirm that there will be hidden chest codes by the time I leave, unless I leave in the next couple of days.
Do I know them? No.
She doesn't have any idea what they are. I haven't told anybody yet, and I haven't put them in the system yet, so nobody needs to find them. Yeah. But there will be some. There will be enough. Plenty enough for people to not find them all. Is this on the Switch? This is the Steam version of the game being played with an Xbox controller. And if you're asking whether or not we will ever be on the Nintendo Switch, we can't comment on potential future releases and stuff like that. It's just not something we could talk about. Spoiler, the hidden code. There are 3. There are 3 hidden codes, actually, this stream. So,
I think one...
good luck with that.
One was found.
One of them was found?
Yes.
Oh, you know what? They probably stopped after they found the one, thinking that was it. That's not it. There's 3. It's the first one of the new year. I just wanted to do something special. So, yeah. Oh, I see the Nightbot talks about 2 of them. Yeah. There's more. OmniGeek, I can promise that they all will have been on stream by the time it wraps up. Some of them may have been on it already. There's 3. Weekend buffs. I think this is the last one that we have fully planned out before we add more to the system next week or later this week. Oh, no, they might already be in there. Oh, I see they're being added. All right. This is a snacky weekend. Buffs for, this is an odd order, for Gromma, Paulton, Ashara, Minsk, and Strix, with a golden epic for Strix slot 2. That's this weekend.
Yep.
I'm just going to leave that open for when I get asked again towards the end of the stream, because
That happens.
that usually happens. Can I convert my web browser game to Steam? I'm not the right person to ask. In theory, you can probably reprogram anything for something else, but whether or not that's the same, so our Steam version of the game is in Unity, and our web version of the game is a whole different thing. So, I don't know if that means that you need to reprogram it from scratch, or if some of it converts or what. But, if you have enough time, Mr. Grosser, probably. If there was going to be a new PAX, where would you want it to be? Well, we already have East, West, South, Unplugged, and Australia. So, the logical next step would be a European one.
That'd be great.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'd love to see one in Southeast Asia, like in Japan or something. Like that would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think a massive one in PAX Munich, that would be cool.
Yes, please.
Yeah. And then Margaret always gets to go. But yeah, I'd love to see Japan or even better, South Korea. PAX in Seoul would be awesome, and I think would probably be embraced in a way that it wouldn't in many places in the world, because video game culture is a whole different game in South Korea. I could see a PAX in Seoul, a PAX Asia or something being monstrous, like being huge, and having ultra high level esports tournaments at it and stuff too, right? Like, I mean, it also depends on what you want out of PAX, right? Because like Unplugged is the board game, books, like the not video game one, and then you have PAX East, which probably leans more towards video games than any of the other PAXs, and it's just kind of like they all kind of have their own thing. So, but yeah, a PAX in South Korea would probably be huge if you want it to be about video games. I don't know. You could also have one in like in the I don't know. I mean, in Europe you could have one in a castle.
Yeah.
So.
Like PAX Prague sounds pretty awesome.
I have always
PAX
wanted to go to Prague.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
And like, they really like their board games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the Codenames game.
The one that we get emails for every once in a while because people think that we make it.
We don't make Codenames.
Yeah, we don't.
But that's Czech, I think.
Okay.
And, yeah. Same with like Dungeon Lords, if you ever played that one, or Galaxy
a bunch of huge games are all come out of Europe. So, yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
PAX in Rome. I would love to, play a board game in the Parthenon or something. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's so many good places for it. But I don't know how many equitable places for it where you could put on an event and have it be, cover your costs and all that stuff. Like running events is a huge thing. Like I only ran events for up to like maybe 800, 900 people. And I know how much work that was for like a single day. And I've been to events that are for, many thousands of people over weekends or, weeks or whatever. And like logistics are intense. So, yeah. Is there any plans to change the UI scale on iOS/Android? Buttons are tiny on the next one. Yeah, I guess the thing is, Burn Boy, that like the game is not designed for mobile devices as much as it was designed for tablets and for PC/like PS4 or Xbox One. So we don't have a UI that is specific for those smaller screens. And it's not something that we're planning on working on at this time. Doesn't mean it'll always be that way, but it's just not something that we have in our plans. So, sorry. Alrighty, you have previously mentioned that each champion represents a snapshot of a character at a particular point of that character's existence. Given that we now have a skin and feet to create Archon at a different point in his character art, is there a potential to see skin and feet combos that represent other characters at different points in their arcs as well? I feel like I'd get in trouble for answering that question.
Well, how about I answer it, and then it can just be blame Margaret if I do it completely wrong.
Sure, go for it.
Okay. Maybe. Depends on the character.
Yeah, that's good enough. Yeah.
And we'll retcon anything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always possible.
And yes, Giant Dwarf Pax is peace in Latin.
Oh, man.
But please don't turn this into Margaret's Latin vocab quiz, because that's the stuff of my nightmares.
Do you not like Latin?
I like Latin, but if we're going to talk about nightmares that I still have from university, it'd be walking into Latin class and like not being able to remember anything and realizing I have a midterm that day. And yes, I've been out of school for a while and I still get those nightmares. It's great.
Fair enough. I never had nightmares from school.
Oh, you're lucky.
I had nightmares from bad jobs.
Oh.
Yeah, like I worked in hospitality for a good chunk of my 20s, and the sound of a bill printing from a printer in a restaurant or at Starbucks anywhere, I still hate that sound. It bugs me to hear. But I used to have nightmares about it because, like, when you're busy, it's when you don't stop hearing that sound, and like the bills keep getting put up, and that lasted a long time because I haven't worked in hospitality for over 10 years, 11 years, a while.
Do you still get those nightmares?
Nope.
Okay.
But I did for every once in a while. I'll just wake up like, ugh, like half panicked and like your heart is thumping away and like you're just stressed out. Yeah. But I mean, as far as nightmares go, like those are easier to calm down from than some, right? Like, I don't know. No. I was going to get into some really dark, weird shit. So let's move on. What else you got for questions? When can we expect another event similar to the High Rollers one a while back? Twofold Gambit. Are you talking about the High Rollers Rogues Gambit co-integration we did where you could earn dice for them to roll on their show? Is that the one you're talking about? Because we did something similar with Acquisitions Incorporated, the C Team, last year, where players could vote for basically something that would impact the subsequent episode each week. I mean, we do plan to do things in a similar vein down the line, but do we have specific plans related to anybody for that? No, we don't. What is the next feature being changed or added to the game? So the next things that are coming to the game we talked about in the Idle Champions in 2020 blog post that came out towards the end of last year. So we were working on offline progress so that players don't have to have the game on all the time if they want to idle away. You'll be able to close the game and load it up, and your champions will have persisted and continued to level and so on. And so we're working on that. We're working on improvements to the time gate system. Basically, we're going to change it from a system where you have your choice of 3 random champions to unlock to you just pick who you want to unlock and work towards. So you'll select a champion. And, that requires a pretty drastic overhaul of that system. So that's something that's also in progress. Those are probably the things that are coming the soonest. And then some other things that we're working on are multiple adventure mode, where you can have multiple parties doing different adventures at the same time, and some other stuff related to that. That'll be a little further off in the future. Yeah. I hope that answers your question enough. What's next? I noticed with this event that there's a scroll bar on my patron select screen. Is this new, or have I been ignorant to it this whole time? Does this mean there's a new patron in the works? I can't answer the first part because honestly I had never noticed or looked before. But I can confirm that there isn't a new patron coming anytime in the immediate future or even the near future. Patrons represent a pretty significant amount of content that players need to play through, and another storefront, and they just represent a lot, and they're not something that we're planning on releasing too frequently. So yes, there will definitely be more of them. They're not gonna come quickly. Yeah. Later TM. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Not soon.
On today's Penny Arcade, Margaret said offline progress was coming soon. I noticed the exclamation. So it's really soon? It's soon TM. That. The old Alt 0153. Soon. I'm going to type it in chat, and then people will wonder why, and then the delay will... Oh, no. This keyboard is set to the wrong thing. I can't do it. I can't alt code it. Never mind. So soon. Yeah. Soon. Is the time gate system decided, or are you still discussing ways to change it? It's decided, yeah. It's coming. The general design of it is included in the blog post. Graham and Adam and Justin and others have all been working on it for a while now. So, yeah, these these kinds of features could take up a lot of time, and like the way that we have our release schedule built, because we have a event every 3 weeks, a content update in between events, which is 34 events a year, with who knows how many updates to the game are wrapped around all of that each year for whatever reason. It's a lot. It's a lot, and it keeps us busy. So fitting features in on top of that is just like it's an over and above thing where we're trying to manage our resources to get it done. So yeah, it's coming. Anyways, let's see. Any chance that you won't lock content starting with year 4? I'm still waiting for you to give a good reason to do it. That's kind of like what our plan is right now, Soul Reaver. So, there is always the chance that our approach to events will change. I mean, it changed. We attempted to make a different version of year 3 events, and then eventually we shifted back to the other thing because it, was unpopular and it wasn't something that players liked. But like the problems that we are hoping to address are still something that are of concern and will continue to be of concern as the game grows and evolves in the coming months and years. So what that solution is may not be 100% finalized, but it's likely that year 4 events will be different than year 3 events. Will it be a long time before the next evergreen, or the second will come soon? If you're referring directly to Alcaria Stone Marrow, I'm not sure what the ETA is on that at this point. Obviously, Dragonbait came out on January 1st, and we do have plans to do more Evergreen Champions. But it's one of those things where how we manage our limited resources, quite frankly, we are a smaller developer, behind the scenes has a pretty significant impact on when we can do things like that. And then on top of that, there's a lot of other moving pieces behind the scenes that have an impact on what arrives in the game at what time, who we're working with, which champions come out with which event, etc. So it's not something that we can really talk too transparently about, despite our desire to be more transparent if we could be, because there's a lot of contract and NDA related stuff that impacts it. But yes, like we definitely want to do Ulcoria at some point. And our plan is for her to be an evergreen, and yeah, we'll see. We're just kind of like, our big focus right now is on these pretty significant features, as well as some of the other stuff that we need to get done. I almost spoiled something and got myself in trouble, so thank God I stopped myself there. Alrighty. Why does Môrgæn have to be in the same slot as Ayla, and why can't we have her in patron variants? Well, so far, our patrons have had a restriction around alignment and a restriction around constitution, both of which exclude Môrgæn. Not all patrons will exclude Môrgæn. I can say that. As for why she's in the same slot as Ayla, that's a good question. That's what, the slot 9 Makos slot? It's because of the... So, in addition to trying not to share a slot with a champion that's in the same event, you're also trying not to share a slot with any other Acquisitions Incorporated related character, which is getting more challenging since we have the entire C team in the game and Jim Dark Magic. So we're trying to make room for that. And then we are also trying not to use slots that are in the event preceding Môrgæn's event, so Winter Shield. Just as we are also trying to avoid using a slot that is in Grand Revel, the next event. So taking all those criteria and then realizing that because Môrgæn has a gold find related ability and we tend to limit those to a handful of slots, it just kind of, a lot of factors to consider. And like, we're eventually going to have to break our own rules because, there are lots of champions. But yeah, it's we've reached the point where it is never a really easy choice where to put a character. There, it's getting harder and harder. So, yeah. And I hear you. I was using Ayla until I started using Môrgæn, because like the formation I'm using right now, which is just an Artemis observance formation. Môrgæn has proven to be a crazy buffer for it, because he steals buffs from somebody that she's buffing. So, when you're buffing your buffs. Alrighty. Why are difficulty ratings in the game when they do not help with determining if one can reach an adventure goal or its variant? So, difficulty ratings have been in the game since the very, very start. And it was before there were a lot of variants that could impact the difficulty of an adventure over and above the amount of damage you needed to just do to enemies. So, basically, at this point, there are somewhat vestigial aspect of the game that's from, the alpha, beta, etc. It's just an old part of the game that has not been updated. We have had a number of different plans around how we could potentially update it to make it something that makes sense and better reflects the challenge of the individual adventures and variants in the game. But it's just not. It's just not something that has been high on our priorities list, and we haven't addressed it yet. So, yeah. I mean, I know that's not an answer that's really helpful, but that's why we have a difficulty rating system that does not work. When Justin has his eureka moment and is like, "This is how I want to fix it," then it'll happen. But until then.
Well, for Winter Shield, for me, the Infamous Assassin was always shown as easy, and I'm like, no, this is not
Infamous
easy.
Assassin is not easy. Yeah. Whoops.
It was great. It was just not easy.
Yeah. And that happens. Yeah. It's not an intentional thing. We're not trying to troll our players or grief them, but because we invent new tech for all these variants, right? Every variant, that does something different from any other one has new programming and stuff specifically for it. And difficulty ratings do not take any of that stuff into account. So, yeah. I would like to know whether the new multiple adventures thing will cost a lot more time to do them, or will it? I can't get into that. Yeah, that feature is too far off to address, and I personally haven't seen any of the planning related to that system. Generally, when we have something that like an update that we're going to do that is going to represent a dramatic change to the game, Justin will present to us how it's going to play out, and that one is far enough out that we haven't even had that conversation. So I know it's something that we are working on, but it's not something I can address yet. Would it be possible to get a bestiary in the game? That is perhaps one of our oldest requested features. I mean, the best bestiary for Idle Champions, which is to say the one that is going to be the most helpful for giving you creature type and having insight into what the monster is, are the actual monster manual, Vola's Guide to Monsters, and Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes that are available for 5e, because all of our monsters are taken from those. In terms of an in-game bestiary, it's an idea that is kind of in limbo for us. It's something that, sure, we'd kind of like to do, but to do it in a way that would work for the game and for all the adventures is not something that we have a good way to put into our game. It's unlikely to happen. So I know that's probably not an answer anybody wants to hear, and it's more likely that things that are bestiary related are more likely to be, we're going to find other ways to display information about monsters. You can mouse over them right now and see the creature types, but that was not always the case. Yeah. I would love to see patron unlocks that alter the world map /UI in some fashion. Mert provides Harper cosmetic changes, Vajra, Force Grey / Blackstaff cosmetics, Manchun, Zentarum teams. Those are interesting suggestions, Parajosh. I'm going to make a note here for Dupuis. Daydaru for Snow. For some reason on the voting page thingy, it is not showing a check mark beside both the Twitter links and the Discord server link, though when I click them both, they say I am following. Is there an extra step I may have missed? That's a good question that I have no idea. It should be as simple as just clicking on the +1s. Yeah. Now, some of them will require Yeah, like you're gonna have to be logged into things and click on them, and I think for at least one of them, like the refer a friend type stuff, tends to require doing an additional step. Sorry, I haven't actually looked at this a lot because Clive, the third part of the marketing triumvirate, if I
These are the three marketeers.
Fuck. The leader of the three marketeers is out sick today, so he sets these up.
Okay, fine. We can be the marketing triumvirate.
The three marketeers is actually pretty funny. More free familiars. I mean, we're never going to give away free familiars, Giant Dwarf, but I assume what you really mean is like, when are we going to introduce more familiars that you can purchase through an in-game currency like gems? That is something that we plan to do at some point. I don't have an ETA for it. Yeah. So, I mean, I'll pass along to the dev team that like we want them now, sooner. But yeah. Alrighty. Can we get a counter for Gromma's spiked shell, similar to Krull's plague counter? I don't know. I mean, I'll pass that along to the devs and see. New music. Oh, man. So probably not. And that has more to do with the fact that a extraordinarily high number of our players, high percentage, mute the audio, just outright. So, you know, the business case for, you know, collaborating, producing a bunch of music, getting it approved by everybody involved here, getting it approved by Wizards of the Coast, making people, you know, all the steps for it. Because music and sound are actually really expensive to produce, especially when you have a studio that doesn't have an in-house musician, or sorry, an in-house like music / sound team. So music is real expensive for us, and it's not something that we're likely to pursue. It's a conversation that is ongoing. Like we've chatted about it a number of times in the past, and it's like it's not a never do, but it's a probably not, I guess, is the way I'd put it. Yeah. My personal, and like this is not happening, but I personally was pushing to see if we couldn't hire the guy who did the Critical Role music to make us a few tracks for the game. That would have been super cool. But again, expensive, and like if nobody listens to the sound for our game, why do it? So, yeah. Let's see. What happened to Justin's goal of having things for benchwarmers to do before more evergreens? Multi-adventure mode sounds pretty far off. Yeah, I mean that's not untrue. We have goals that we don't always meet, and we readjust and shift things around. I wasn't actually thinking of Sam Riegel's song "We're God," like the Your Turn to Roll Critical Role theme that like Sam Riegel wrote and co-produced with Jason Charles Miller, and had Laura Bailey and Travis Willingham and everybody singing on. That's not actually the one that I'm referring to. I'm referring to the one that they play for their art. I can't remember the guy's name right now. He's in the UK. Colm McGuinness. So yeah, he's a like a Scottish or Irish musician. So, of course, it doesn't say where exactly he's from, but yeah, welcome to Wildemount or Wildmount. Anyways, he's produced a whole bunch of music for Critical Role. So that was who I was pushing for. But again, you know, very expensive for a small studio like us. Like. I know I often talk about how small our team is and how small we're smaller than you think. Like,
yeah.
You know, 24 people in here working on 3 games.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It is actually great fun though. Be a small team.
I'm glad you're liking it so far. You can never leave. With the growing count of level capped item slots, plans for item level redistribution. It's mentioned in patch notes from February 18. Yeah, it's one of those things that again is on Justin's to-do list. The problem with having one Justin is that you have only one, and his attention, his eye of Sauron, can only turn to the thing that he's focused most on, which currently is the upcoming time gate and offline progress changes.
Yes.
Which he is not leading the projects on, but he's managing the projects on. So can't you just clone him? Hey, we'd love to. Yeah, more Justins. # more Justins would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. During year 4, will we get a chance to get year 1 silver chests since the free plays won't be available in events? This question was asked on last stream, but I had to duck out / that's a bit of a question mark until we actually iron out exactly what it is we're going to do with year 4. Yeah. Because again, before we hit year 4 events, which is going to be October, it's not something that is at the forefront of our priorities list, let's say. So, yeah. Will you allow players to do beta testing for the new features? We actually already are alpha crawl. We have a number of people who are beta testing offline progress right now. And as we work through those kinks and we get it closer and closer to being ready, we will probably include additional testers. But yeah, we do allow beta testing. It's the challenge for it is like we are small enough that managing beta tests and bringing feedback together and acting on it is also like it's a lot of work for somebody. Yeah. And so we're just it's something that we're working on.
Please be nice to Peter.
Yeah. Am I weird for thinking they should swap the ranger in the middle with the turtle?
With the crawl?
So, you're thinking of Caddy Bree and Crawl. Yeah, I don't want to do that for all because Artemis is stealing Caddy Bree's buffs right now, and she's getting hit by all the buffs. So I wouldn't want to switch Crawl with her because Artemis is stealing her buffs specifically. Now, if you mean the other ranger, because there's, I guess the only ranger is actually technically like Caddy Bree is a fighter, right? So Môrgæn is the ranger. Swapping Môrgæn and Crawl only means that you have Walnut doing 0 damage instead of Calliope. Because right now I'm actually not in the free play. I'm in the variant where anybody who is not getting the paid up front buff does 0 damage. So Calliope right now does no damage. So it's just choosing whether I want Calliope or Walnut to do nothing. Yeah. Anyways, this is my E175 DPS formation. That's all. I don't know what that number is called, but it's a big one. Yeah. Hopefully Farida could get some love if you were to happen to add a related champion. Just a thought. It just so happens that a related champion is on the horizon. Yeah.
Yep.
But which one? Only the Well of Spoilers knows.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll talk more about said champion soon. Yeah. Have you considered adding a customizable champion that players can use to represent themselves / their character? We have considered it. And unfortunately, it's still currently a no. The reasoning being that the way that we build this game, the amount of work that it would be required in order to make a champion that you can customize, like never mind the technical aspect that the developers could speak to, just the art aspect, making, let's say a male, a female, and a non-gender binary version of each of the races available in the player's handbook, combined with each of the classes available in the player's handbook, not including multi-classes, would create a staggering amount of work for the art team that we don't have time for. We can't. We just don't make that kind of game. Because everything you see on screen is hand-drawn and hand-animated, basically. These aren't sprites. They're drawn in Illustrator, and then they're kind of each part of them is isolated. So like shoulder to elbow joint, elbow to wrist, and then hand with weapon, and they're kind of just chopped up like that. And it's a lot of work just to make a champion. Like our champion process, including the development time and the coordinating with a content creator, is like a 3-week thing. From, first discussion, email communication, subsequent discussions, first drafts, drawn, and then iterations on the design, all that stuff. It takes 3 weeks. And there isn't really a way for us to speed that up. And then even for lore characters, ones that are from books, we do our best to try and connect with whomever created that character. So when we worked on Farida, we talked to Aaron Evans about Farida. So yeah, Anyways, all I'm hearing in my head is Doctor Who from that other new Who episode. I really like the new Doctor Who. I think Jodie Whittaker is awesome. Yeah. Anyways, do you watch Doctor Who?
I haven't watched it since Christopher Eccleston.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So the one series he did?
Yeah.
Briefly? Alrighty. How do you feel about having Warden be part of the Forgotten Realms Wiki? I love it. That's awesome. That was a really cool moment for us. Yeah. I mean, for a lot of reasons, it's cool. Like, it's the first, because I think, I can't remember if Stokey and Grama and like the other C&E original characters all had articles or entries right away. I didn't look, but I mean, I got to write Warden, and then Kat drew Warden, and I helped to design Warden, and Justin and Chris kind of like fine-tuned it. I mean, I've helped to design a few champions, I guess, but Warden was the one that required the smallest number of changes from the initial idea to being implemented, which is really cool. So like part of me felt a real sense of accomplishment and pride in like, I wrote something and it's on the Forgotten Realms Wiki. It is officially in a D&D game, but I also don't really feel ownership of Warden. Like it's a C&E original, which means that it is 100% owned by D&D/Wizards of the Coast. And if Mike Merles wants to chuck Warden into a sphere of annihilation to remove them from canon forever, he can. But at the same time, if they wanted Warden to be a villain in one of the books just doing horrible shit somewhere, they can. And I hope that they do. I don't know that the odds are good, but yeah, it's cool. It was a really cool thing. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to clicked on the wrong window. Oh God. Yeah. Anyways, like we're hitting the old 10 minutes to go mark. I would love to hear from any one of you what you're most looking forward to in 2020. There's plenty of stuff going on in the world. I wanna hear what you guys are excited about.
Are you a New Year's resolution kind of person?
No, I have a child coming, so it's like
That's
I'm a all things point to this one thing from here on out kind of person at this point. Critical Role Funko Pops. Oh man, I could see that happening. We'll see what like how popular is that Critical Role shell going to be on Amazon, right? Like, I imagine it's going to be popular. Yeah, more Baldur's Gate stuff. Yeah. I don't suspect the Baldur's Gate 3 is going to come this year because RPGs that big take forever to build. But yeah, I mean, you never know. I expect to maybe hear more about it this year. My money would be on 2021, hearing more about it, and then like a release in 2022 or later. That'd be my guess. It's just such a big game. Plus, it was relatively recent that Larian shut down one of their other projects to allocate more resources to Baldur's Gate 3. So. What else do we have there? Critical Role animated show. Yeah. Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah, that's probably the biggest video game release of the year coming. Certainly one of them.
Or Last of Us 2.
Last of Us 2. Half-Life Alyx. Because I'm probably not going to build a VR headset at home or justify that cost with a child on the way. But our office has a VR setup. So I might stay late at work some days to play some Half-Life. Final Fantasy VII Remake, yeah. Multiple stories in a novel coming out. Oh, congratulations, Christopher 287. Yeah, that's awesome.
Cool.
Looking forward to finishing my bachelor's thesis project and graduating. Yeah, congratulations in advance for that too, Wyvern Win. That's awesome. No politics.
Yes.
Well, I mean, if there's something you are looking forward to, politic related, keep this positive, right? Like, you focus on more positive things. You tend to see, feel, and experience more positive things. Living without optimism is not the way to do it. Take it from somebody who has literally broken their back before. Looking on the bright side of life feels better than not. Planning a wedding. Ooh. Right on, Sleepopotamus. That is awesome. I really enjoyed planning my wedding. It was a killer party, and I only mildly bug Eric and Clive for not coming.
They didn't come?
To be honest, the invite list was sent out, finalized, and everything was done before I started working at Codename.
Oh.
And in the week or two leading up to the wedding, I had some relatives be like, "Hey, we can't make it because of this." And I was like, "Oh, do you guys want to come?" And they're like, "Maybe." And then they didn't. But they missed a hell of a party on the hottest day of the year that year. Hottest weekend of the year. It was a good event. Had a good time. I mean, I know it's supposed to be, but it was great. Coming out of the back surgery on Tuesday with no complications. Yeah, good luck. Back surgery is freaking scary. So, I'm crossing my fingers for you, and I hope it works out. Looking forward to more spoiler Margaret. Yeah, you'll get it, I'm sure. I'm not going to let her see the hidden combinations this time around.
Okay, there are January hints and there are December hints for like codes that expire at the end of the year. The January hints is that the list exists.
Yeah.
The December hints are like,
hey, you didn't find this.
You didn't find this yet.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm actually having a really hard time. I've been writing it for a while, and it's like I'm having a hard time with it because I want it to be the right amount of challenging, and it's you can't outthink the groupthink of the internet. So
they know things.
It's it'll vary the gamut from super easy codes to like how the am I supposed to figure that out? So that's the plan. Looking forward to dry January ending. Hey, yeah, I mean, if you did that for yourself, that's awesome. I feel you. Yeah, I had a virtually dry winter because the office cold that cycled through here, everybody who got it had it for like a month, and even then, like my sinuses are still kind of about it, which meant no drinking.
I'm still immune.
Except for Christmas whiskey, but also known as Scotchmas.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, yeah, it is nice. Yeah, it was good stuff. Yeah, I got this. I'm not drinking again until baby is born and all that stuff settled, and that'll be a Lagavulin 12-year open cask, which is just delicious stuff. It's just sitting there on my counter, on my shelf. Anywho, now it seems like a good time to start wrapping it up. Do you have anything else you want to say?
Not really. I've avoided the office plague, but I can't get cocky about it because someone got cocky about not getting sick, and then the next day they were out. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. You should try Macallan 18 instead. So the reason I like the open cast Docuvelli is because like all whiskeys are somewhat diluted to make sure that they hit the alcohol percentage that they're supposed to hit, but open casks aren't. So they're a little closer to moonshine than most whiskeys, but they're also like. They're just so rich. They're not diluted at all. They have so much flavor. So yeah, I haven't had the Macallan 18. The older ones tend to be a lot more expensive, so maybe I'll try it at some point. But yeah, I'm not going to turn down a Scotch. I do tend to lean towards single malts from Japan most frequently, just because I love the Suntory's Hibiki and most of Nikka's whiskeys. Anywho, on that note. I think it's time to wrap it up. We'll see if you guys find all of the hidden combinations. We have Môrgæn there in the corner doing stuff. This has been our first show of the year. Happy 2020, everybody. Wrapping up our Thursday, January 9th. 2020 show. So thank you guys so much for joining us, for participating in the chat, in the Idle Champions community, in the D&D community. You guys are all awesome. This show exists because of a lot of people. The majority of them behind the scenes. So this includes our co-producer Erica, Margaret, as well as our partners at Dungeons and Dragons. So Greg, Bart, Pelham, Allison, Shaoling, Lisa. Probably more people that I'm not remembering right now because their team also grows and shifts. A huge thanks to Morgan Webb for taking probably her lunch hour to join us today from Bonfire Studios. I very much look forward to hearing anything about what it is they're working on because
nothing has been released yet, and I just want to know, because the art on their webpage is awesome, and I'm like, oh, that art style is it. Anyways, so yeah, looking forward to that. Take care, everybody. Have a happy New Year and a wonderful weekend. Cheers.